All right. I think we'll get started. Thank you so much for everybody to attend our Doctor of Educational Leadership and at CSU Pueblo. I am Nick Lagrasso. I'm the enrollment counselor here for our online programs. And today we have Dr. Jeff Paquette, who is our Associate Dean of CHEN, which is College of Health, Education, and Nursing, as well as the Director of the Educational School. Also, Shauna Range, she is our academic advisor here for our online program with the Doctorate of Education and Educational Leadership. So today we're going to be going through a few different things just to kind of give you some more details and dive deeper into our program. So for the agenda, we did a little introduction. We'll be going through program details, course offerings, and the dissertation and outcomes. The questions, we actually, that got mixed up, but we'll be having those at the very end of our session. So you will all be unmuted and be able to ask your questions, or during the session, if you do have any questions that you would like to you can open the chat box and type those in there and we'll get to them as best we can. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. We'll also talk about costs and admissions requirements. Okay, so our education degree is emphasis in educational leadership. It's 100% online and as well as asynchronous. So if anybody doesn't know what asynchronous is, it is an opportunity to take classes without having to be in class at a certain time. It is really a self-paced type of situation. Our classes run 8 weeks and they're accelerated classes. So they actually will have an A session and a B session. So in the regular semester, we have a 16-week semester in our fall and spring. And so you have an opportunity to enter in the first A session with one class or the B session. So there's 2 different modalities to our EdD, a K through 12 emphasis area, as well as a higher education opportunity. So Dr. Paquette will probably get into more details with that.
Sure.
The opportunity for you all, I know you're all working probably full-time jobs, but that's what's really nice about this program is you have a part-time and a full-time opportunity. Now, you could definitely take this program and finish it in a minimum of 2 years, but that would require you to be full-time. So just to let you know, and you would go into detail with your advisor. And we are accredited by the HLC, so Higher Learning Commissions. The program is 58 credits, and so we will be getting into that right now. And I will be passing this off to Dr. Paquette.
All right, great. Thanks, Nick. Welcome, everybody. Like I said, good to see a lot of familiar names out there. And for those of you who don't know me, good to see you here and have interest in our program. The educational leadership program at the doctoral level is sort of broken into, I guess I would call them 4 components. And you'll see those here on the screen. There's the leadership core, the research core, the electives, and then sort of like the overarching dissertation and practicum hours. So how the leadership core works is these will be a set of courses that are required for everyone who takes the program. Obviously, it's those things that we feel are the most important for you to learn as a doctoral level candidate in educational leadership. And as Nick mentioned before, we understand that some of you might be interested in applying this degree in more of a P12 setting, and others of you might be more interested in using it in a higher education setting. Some of you might be interested in using it in other ways, and we'll talk about some of those things a little bit later down the road. But the way that the courses are set up are such that when you talk about, for example, the ED 711, the issues in educational leadership, a lot of the issues in the P12 arena will overlap with those in higher ed, but some will not. And the instructors have been encouraged to sort of take things from both realms and merge them as best they can. But really where a lot of the emphasis will happen is with you in your own individual assignments. And so when an instructor tells you, go do some research on an issue in educational leadership, you'll have to choose whether you're going to focus more on a higher ed sort of setting or a P12 setting, maybe even an informal setting. But so that's how these different opportunities to gain a focal area happens in our program. So in a similar way, we will take a look at how that will work with the research course. The research core is really getting you prepared to how to do the research necessary for the dissertation, quantitative methods, qualitative methods, and using data for making decisions in the program. So that's the research core. Again, everybody takes that. Third is the elective area. We will let you take 9 credit hours from an array of doctoral level courses. And it'll just sort of be based on what's available any given term from us. If some of you have started doctoral level coursework elsewhere, but did not finish that degree, that's most likely where transfer credits could potentially come in. We are able to accept up to 9 credit hours in transfer from regionally accredited programs, as long as they did not count towards another degree. Okay. Then the final sort of pieces, I guess, are the doctoral practicum and the dissertation. The practicum is really a chance for you to be out in the field being mentored by other educational leaders that probably are in areas that are of interest to you. So you'll get a lot of freedom in choosing the folks who you'd like to spend time with. And so we will have you take this course 4 different times throughout the program for 1 credit hour each. And you'll do 30 contact hours with educational leaders each time you take that course. And we're going to hope that you get some varied experiences across those opportunities, just to sort of make you more well-rounded. Then the dissertation, obviously, this is a traditional dissertation, 5 chapters, where you will pick a topic area, work in conjunction with a chair and a committee to further advance the field of educational leadership, right? What can we do to make education better, which I know is sort of the motivating factor for most of you that are here and interested in the program. Obviously, all of this comes together in a total of 58 credit hours, which we say you can do in 2 years. But again, as Nick sort of hinted at, that would be probably a little bit more rare, just because getting up and started, especially with the dissertation research, takes some time. And you would have to be really devoted to wanting to finish in 2 years. You'd probably have to have a pretty good idea of what you wanted to do with your dissertation. It would have to be something that aligned well with our current faculty who teach these courses, all of whom, by the way, are doctorally prepared instructors. That's part of our regional accreditation, is that when you take doctoral level courses, they have to have the terminal degree in our field. Okay, and so that's going to be true for all of these courses. Anyway, if you happen to get all that aligned, you might get out of here in 2, but it might be more than that. And if you're not sure and you want to go slower, you can certainly do that. So I would say do some talk with your advisor and with your families in how much of this you really want to bite off as you get started, because obviously being the final degree in the field, it's gonna take a little bit of work. Okay. All right, Nick, I think I'm ready for the next slide.
Okay.
So we mentioned a little bit about the dissertation already, and I said that you could start sooner or later. We have sort of a plan that would map you out for a 2-year program, but you can really do it however quickly you want. There's only a 6-year sort of time frame that really limits you in finishing. So in other words, the university has a policy that says that you are supposed to finish all of your coursework within 6 years for a graduate degree. Now, as the program director, I do have the ability to sign off on things that go longer than that. So let's say life should happen to somebody in our program and they weren't able to finish this within the 6 years. It may make sense for me to sign off on that and say, okay, it'll take 7 or 8 to finish. And so that is also a possibility. But anyway, one of the first things that you're going to do for the dissertation is go through some orientation on what a dissertation is, what it will take. It's going to be sort of like its own module. Hopefully, in doing that, you'll learn about what the dissertation will be. You'll start thinking about what your topic area might be, who your chair would be from the university, followed by individuals who might also serve on your committee. That committee will be somewhere between 3 and 5 people, one of whom must be from the School of Education. But if you are in another content area that is related, like we have some folks from nursing, nurse educators, we'll definitely get people from those content areas to be like content specialists. We'll also want you to have methodologists, those folks who know research design really well, to make sure that your project is designed well and can withstand this kind of scrutiny that these dissertation projects have to withstand. So you'll eventually, with the help of your chair, propose the specific research study that you want to do. It'll be reviewed by your committee, and after they approve it or ask for revisions, that's when your formal research can start. And then after you've collected all the data, analyzed it, and reported it, you will defend it to the committee and be done. All right, I think that's it, Nick. So what are some of the big outcomes for our program? Well, what we have decided to emphasize in this program is that our graduates will be, first of all, transformative leaders, right? In the educational field, whichever level they decide to go to, that's the first thing. The next one is that they will be reflective practitioners. Just like all of you who may already be in education know, reflection is a critical pillar to our field. And so this will even elevate that sort of automaticity and reflection that you bring to your practice again here as well. The third point being that our graduates are critical consumers of knowledge. In other words, you're not just always going to believe everything that you may hear in education. You're going to be someone who's going to read the research and read things with a more critical eye. You'll have the tools to help you identify whether or not things that you're reading in these reports really are of value, and maybe they're not. Maybe there'll be some red flags. And so that's part of what our program is going to train you to do. We'll also train you to be obviously scholars. You're going to be doing this research yourselves. And so you have to know how to go about that. And finally, and I think one of the things that's going to resonate with most of you more than anything else is you will become advocates in the field of education. And so that can span a wide array of things. But we will definitely make sure that you know how to promote and advocate for those beliefs that you hold most dear. Okay. So back to our career opportunities. We mentioned some of these already. P12 education, you can be, an administrator in P12 education. This specific program, the doctoral program, can make you eligible for a superintendent role in the P12 setting, but it does not include principal licensure. That principal licensure is available from CSU Pueblo as well, but it's a master's level program. And so if you'd like to do that as well, that's an additional 27 credit hours that you can complete sort of in conjunction with the doctoral program or before the doctoral program, if you'd like to do that as well. You can also remain a teacher, right? You might have a doctoral program or doctoral degree in educational leadership, but remain in the classroom. We have a number of folks like that in our region. And sometimes those are the best folks to have in those classrooms, transforming each and every child who comes through. Obviously, we mentioned higher education as well. You can be an administrator at the higher ed level, community college, 4-year, research 1, whatever sort of level you may want to try to reach in higher education. You could be faculty, you could be administrative professional staff. Lots of opportunities here, depending on what you'd like to do. Obviously, if you're interested in being on the more advocacy side of the world, this degree will help you with that as well. You could become a lobbyist for state legislatures. You could help with policy development. So there are certainly educational think tanks, as they call them, research groups and policy groups that this would set you up for that as well. And finally, there are a number of people who make a very good living as consultants and professional development deliverers that are doctorally prepared, that help, teachers continue with their certifications and development, travel around the United States, providing some unique services. So that's a possibility as well. All right, Nick. So what about costs and scholarships? Well, our costs are currently at $550 per credit hour. So if you do the math with the required number of credit hours, the total cost is $31,900 plus textbooks. Now that $31,900 does include all fees, so there won't be fees in addition to that, but the textbooks, depending on what the instructors have chosen, will be in addition to that $31,900. So what about financial aid and scholarships? Well, the scholarships that are listed here, first of all, any new student to the program that takes at least 6 credit hours will automatically receive $1,000. So that's a pretty nice incentive right there. We do also have some competitive scholarships through our foundation, which all of you would be eligible to apply for each year. That happens in February with a deadline of March 1st. And then my School of Education also has some scholarship dollars, which we award through a competitive, currently it's through a competitive process as well. But I just learned yesterday evening that our graduate school is also planning to have some additional funds, but we haven't exactly mapped out, what that's going to look like. It may come in the form of package deals for students coming in that might be more automatic as opposed to competitive. So you'll have to check back in with me here in the next few weeks, maybe, when I have a better idea of what the graduate school has to offer on that front. But we also have financial aid for those folks who qualify using the FAFSA system. So you can certainly go that route as well. So I think that hits pretty much everything on this one as well, Nick.
Yeah, that's great.
Right, and I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Paget. That was really a great amount of information for everybody. So now is this the right fit for you? And if it is, wonderful. We would love to help you through this first part of the application process. So this would be your next steps as you would fill out an application. One of the requirements for the degree is to either have a master's degree and principal license, or a master's degree plus 3 years of professional experience. If you have any questions about that, please just reach out. We'll definitely verify that for you. So then when you're in the application, you would then upload your 2 letter of recommendations individuals, as well as your full history of academic information. Now, the cool part about this is you don't have to have those official transcripts before you submit the application or your payment. You can submit your application and then work on both of those items after. And I can definitely help you out with that. A good resource, and I'll put it in the chat, is parchment.com. It's a really nice third party that gets us those official transcripts right away. And then once that is done and we have all your materials, your application would then be sent to Dr. Paget, who would then review. And once you got admitted, you would move then to an opportunity to meet with your advisor and register for classes. So we're here definitely to help you through any step you would like to get to where you need to be. So just let us know if you need anything, but that's kind of the process for that first step. And then this is our contact information. I'll leave this up a little bit. and let anybody write that down. And then after this, we're going to do some Q&A, and we'll open it up for everybody. So I'll set that up. I'll also put the application link here in the chat if you need a quick opportunity to get there.
Yeah, Nick, and I think if we want to just leave this slide up for the Q&A so that people have time, that probably works too.
Yep. So I'll unmute everybody here and we'll open it up. So you're going to stay muted, but if you have now the opportunity to unmute yourself to ask questions. Did everybody get their questions answered? Maybe
I guess so. I did a really, really good job, I guess, right?
Killed it.
I was going to suggest a scholarship for the first person who answered.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Johnny.
Got some thumbs up. Well, great. And also, just to let you all know, after this, I'll be sending another email out just for feedback on how this went. We are taking suggestions. As you know, we want to make sure you get information out to you as easy as possible.
Yeah, you bet, Susan.
Wonderful.
Glad you could be here.
All right. Well, I mean, we'll stay on a little bit longer. If you need anything, let us know. We'll stay. Oh, do you have one, Lindsay?
Oh, I just had, okay, since I've already gone
Yeah.
through this, and I was like, I just want to hear Dr. Jeff since I haven't heard from him in a while. Since I am local and I am in Pueblo, I know it's all online, but can I schedule times to come in and meet with, my advisor, or can I schedule times to meet with that specific teacher, just because I am here, like I kind of have that advantage.
It's an excellent question. Yep, excellent question. And absolutely, we 100% would encourage anybody who is able to come to campus and prefers to meet in person. All of our faculty will be here in person. It's not like we are hiring someone, from Minnesota to teach, the courses or something. No, we'll all be here on campus and available to meet with you in person if you have that ability. And I think you'll find that, especially for the dissertation, discussions that you'll have with your chair, that can be maybe a much more efficient way to go about it than especially back and forth on email or whatever. Of course, Zoom and things can work as well, or phone calls, but you're absolutely welcome to come on campus and use the resources here, right? So our library resources, our curriculum lab, things like that.
Okay, yeah, that was my big concern, was I do better with certain things like the dissertation. I'd want like either this or to sit with someone and have that feedback. So that was my question. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
I do have one quick question.
Yeah.
If we were to fill out the application and everything at this point within the next couple of weeks, could we potentially start as soon as the summer term, or would it be starting in the fall?
If you get on the application and are able to get us all of your necessary materials, we could still definitely get you started for this summer.
Okay.
Yep.
Just as a teacher, just wanted to see summer's a better time to take it.
Right, Craig. Well, and
100%.
the other thing to remember is that because we have both a summer A and a summer B session, like Nick mentioned, even if you don't get into the, classes that start in May, you could get into the ones that start in June, right?
June.
Or July, or whenever it is. I can't remember when that term switches over. I think it's June.
June 12th.
Thanks, Nick. Because one of the things that I didn't really mention earlier, and maybe I should have, is that our curriculum is designed to allow you to start pretty much anywhere, right? So
rolling.
Yep. You come in at any term, take whatever's available and is an appropriate, match for what you want to do that term. And you'll roll with it. It's not like we have a whole bunch of prerequisites where you have to take those courses all in order, right? From 710 through 716 or something. So if you come in and 714 is the one we're on, you take it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Great. Anybody else?
Okay, so I'm gonna do something that I said I was gonna do. I promised I would do this for anybody who's still on. If you haven't met her yet, Shauna
Yeah.
is gonna be the primary person that you're gonna be chatting with to help, you know, with your course registration, most likely. I mean, you can also work with your dissertation chair and those kind of things as well, or me, but Shauna's probably gonna have the most capacity to help you in the quickest timeline. So Shauna, say hi to everybody and anything else you might wanna throw their way.
I will probably be the first person you get an email from after you get admitted. And I just, to make it easy for you or new students, we schedule a quick Zoom meeting, walk through all the program requirements again, see where you're at, see what your plans are, and kind of build a plan off of what you're hoping to finish it in. Obviously, it's tentative. I mean, we have students that come in gung-ho, ready to start full time, and then maybe find out, like Dr. Paquette said, life happens and we can't do that every semester. So I'm kind of here to help track that, see where we need to go planning wise, get a plan for graduation, because it's always nice to see the end goal. And then I'm just here to help with that registration piece of thing, answer questions. A lot of times I'm a go-between with Dr. Paquette. I can answer some things, but sometimes I do have to refer to him. But I am kind of a resource for all of our admitted students to walk through all of that and help as you go.
Thanks, Shauna, I appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right. Well, if no one else, does anybody have a question? I heard someone on mute. No? Okay. Well, if no one else has any questions, you're more than welcome to head out. We appreciate your time and thanks for listening to our information on our EDD at CSU Pueblo.